Good morning. We're back out this morning with the Equinoxes. Again, I brought my wife Hazel, and I've also invited my mate John Eriton, who's a seasoned beach detectivist over there. He's done very well on the beach, had loads of gold rings, even Viking. He's just started doing the fields the last couple of years. So we're all going out to see what we can get. I'm going to call this video Equinox Explained, I think. Okay, so we're back out, and just want to call this video Equinox Explained. There's a lot of people out there think the Equinox is a really hard machine to get used to, and it's easy to get bogged down in other people's settings, especially when they're wrote down on paper, because they all look a bit complicated, and they're really not. Once you've chose your mode on your Equinox, you've set your sensitivity up, you've set your recovery speed to the field that you're detecting on, whether it be pasture, ploughed. Then you also set your iron bias to the right setting. It really isn't a complicated machine. The only other thing you can do with it is change the way it sounds. So let's say if you're in 5 tones or 50 tones, you can change where they come in at and what they sound like, and that's the only other thing that you can do. The 600 Equinox that John uses, that goes up in instruments of 2, whether the Equinox is instruments of 1. So let's say if I'm on a recovery speed of 4, on John's it will be 2. It'll be exactly the same machine. So the Equinox 600 has got less settings, so anybody who's not wanting all the settings to basically buy an Equinox 600, you're not going to find any less with an Equinox 600. It just has less settings. For anybody who's buying an Equinox, I recommend you downloading the manual first, reading it from. You can get that from the minelab website, or if you want to come along and join our Unearthed Minelab user group on Facebook, you're more than welcome. There's a lot of settings on there, hints and tips that you'll find. So let's get out there and see what we can find. So first up, I think possibly a coin, copper coin. There's not much detail on that. It'll be Georgian in date. It came up at 15 on the Equinox. The only other thing I didn't mention before about setting your Equinox up is select what tones you want to be in, whether it's 2 tone, 5 tone or 50 tone. I would say those of you coming from a single frequency machines that have just bought the Equinox, that you're probably used to detecting in 2 tone. There's nothing wrong with 2 tone. It doesn't matter what tones you're in, really. You're not going to find any more with whatever tones. It's a personal preference. I quite like the 5 tones because I can set the tone, like I mentioned in my video last week, that I can set my, I could have my low numbers coming in at high tone. I could have my like mid numbers coming in at a mid tone, or I could have my high, like very high silver numbers like 24, 25 coming in at a low tone, or vice versa. One thing I would say is the more tones you've got, if you're detecting in ploughed, highly mineralised ground, that you'll probably find you will do better, because there's more separation between the tones. But okay, well that's a start anyway. I'll stop rambling on now, and we'll get see if we can find some gear. Okay, next up at 9 on the Equinox, bit of a spoon handle. I tell you what, I must have found about 6 of them on here last week. They must have all been set up on here on the hills eating the dinner or something. Okay, next up, it's part of an old Victorian pocket watch, just the outer ring. That came in at 23 on the Equinox. And I've just had Hazel shouting at me again, so it looks like she's found something good, so we'll go and have a look. What you found? So this is only her second signal. Huh? That's enamoured. Not a great deal on it, but it's enamoured. And that coming at low numbers.
13.
Coming at 13. So I say always dig them low numbers. Well done, Hazel.
Thank you.
Beating me again. Okay. And Hazel uses 2-tone. And recovery speed is at 4, and the iron bias is at 4. I'll see if I can get some detail up on it later. Okay, next up on the Equinox, come over at 14. Nice copper coin, and it looks like it's got 3 legs like the Isle of Man. It's possibly a token. We'll get that cleaned up and we'll get a picture put in the corner. Find out what it is. Okay. Just back with Hazel, and she's just had this old whistle. Still got the loop on there. Might probably work that if you clean it up.
Give you something to do.
Whistle. You can whistle me when you find enamoured. that came over at 18 on the Equinox. Next up, came up at 15, ID number, it's a military cap badge. I have no idea what that is, I'm not up on my military stuff. Some of you guys might know though. Get it cleaned up when we get home. Next up, tiny little brooch, probably Victorian. Came over at 10 on the Equinox. Might clean up a bit, get some pictures put in the corner. Okay, on to the next. Just back with John now, and he's just had a medieval spindle wall, got the patterns on it. Yeah, good find, John. What did that come in at?
23, I think.
Right, have you had out else?
A lot of junk. Not really, just what you can see in there.
Bag full of stuff in there, isn't there? A few coins.
Yeah.
Right, let's crack on and see what else we can get. It's afternoon now, so still time to find something. Can't have Hazel beating us, can we? Right. Next up with the Equinox. Came in at 12. Very thin, not round, copper coin, possibly a jetton. No detail left on it though. Okay. Next up, this military button came in at 11. See the crown on it. I'll put some pictures of my finds up at the end. Okay, on to the next. I'm just back with John now, and he's just had this nice little badge or brooch. Lucky horseshoe. Silver. Came in at 13 on his Equinox 600.
About 3 inches down.
3 inches down. Very nice find that, John.
Yeah.
Get some better pics of it later. Okay. That's probably all we've got time for now. Thank you all for watching the channel, and we'll see you all next time. So John's just been round after today's hunt with this piece of bronze that he'd found in his scrap bag. He just thought it was a piece of bronze till he cleaned it up. He wanted to know if I knew what it was. Anyway, I found it in the Finds Identify book. And it is pommel, sword pommel, early medieval. Also used by the Vikings. How good's that? Got a piece broken off it, mind you, but yeah, great find. Okay. So, moral to the story is, always check your finds when you get home. You never know what you might have. Okay, bye for now.